Hey everyone, in this video, we're going to go ahead and build this. So this is our portfolio website, and we're going to get started on the front end. We're definitely not going to finish it in this video, but we can get everything started. So we'll create a really basic page here. We'll add some cards, and for now, we're just going to put test data. And in the next video, we'll come back, we'll put real data in all these cards. And I'll probably come back and add more and polish it up some, as it's kind of plain right now, but this will at least give us a starting point to pull in our data and create something. So yeah, we'll create a simple page here showing our portfolio, our work experience, our education with this little home sort of landing page right here. This is just a free image I found online. You can put whatever image you want in here. But other than that though, let's go ahead and get started. Okay, first things first, I'm going to go ahead and create two terminal windows here, and I'm going to go ahead and start the project currently, where we're currently at. So this is my front end, so I can run npm run start to run the React side of things. I should open up a new window here in a second. Okay, so we're getting this issue, React scripts not found. Let's do npm install. And then we'll run npm run start again, and that should fix that, and open up a new window. Okay, there we go, and this is what we had from the previous video. I'll go ahead and come over here and go into the backend. So first, at the root here, I'll do a source env bin/activate to activate my virtual environment. I'll cd into the API here and run python 3 manage.py run server to run our backend. Okay, we don't really need to run the backend, but we'll go ahead and just do it anyway. Okay, so let's go ahead and get started with this. So all of our work today will be in the front end. So we'll go into our source folder here and get started. In our app.js right now, we have this home with some test classes just to make sure everything was working. Let's go ahead and delete all of this to get started. I'll delete this div as well and just put just an empty React fragment, just like that. And now our page should just be blank. Okay. First things first, we want to add a nav component. So we're going to have a nav bar. We're not going to make the nav bar work at the moment. We're going to go ahead and just create it though. So inside the source folder here, I'll create a new folder. I'll call it components. Inside the components folder here, I'll create a new file and I'll save this as nav with a capital M in.js. And I can go ahead and generate a new React component. And I'll generate a React stateless functional component. And I'll delete the props out of that. There we go. Okay. Inside this nav bar, it will be pretty simple. We're just going to create a unordered list and put some list elements inside of it. So we'll create a UL for unordered list. And I'm going to go add some classes on this as well. And these will all be Tailwind classes. I'll talk through them as I add them. A flex, we'll add a display flex. We'll add a background color, so we'll do BG to add a background color here, and we'll add a color of stone-100. And you can look up the Tailwind color palette to see exactly what these colors are, but this will just be like a gray. And then we'll add a cursor pointer, so our cursor turns into a pointer when we hover over it. Okay, and I can go ahead and close off the UL, just like that. And inside of here, I'm going to go and create some list elements, or list items, create an LI. And we'll add some classes on this as well. So we'll add a margin on the x-axis 3, a margin on the y-axis of 4, and then we will add, for this first one, we're going to go ahead and put a text-2xl to make it a little bit bigger. This will be like our sort of brand, our header in our nav bar, if you will. And then from there, we'll add a background color of a text-slate-900 to make it a dark gray color. And then we want to go ahead and add a hover effect. So we'll do a hover : text-slate-700, which will be a slightly lighter gray. And then we'll add a transition as well. We'll go ahead and put test portfolio inside of here. Okay, and we'll save that, come back here. And nothing's showing up yet because we haven't added it to our app.js. So we come back to our app.js. Inside of this empty fragment here, we'll add nav. The closing tag like that, and we'll need to import it. So we'll import nav from dot slash components slash nav. I think it should be good there. Let's test that out. There we go. So now we have our heading text right here, test portfolio. And you can see the dark gray, and you can see the hover effect when we hover over it. Okay, perfect. Let's go ahead and finish our nav bar now. So we'll come back to our nav.js here, and we'll add a few more of these list items. I'm going to go ahead and actually just copy this because it's going to be almost exactly the same. And we'll paste it down here 3 more times. 2 and 3. And the only change we're going to make here, I guess it'll actually be 2 changes. First, this my-4. I'm going to go ahead and change just these bottom 3. I'm going to go ahead and change these to my-5. And in case you don't know, you can select something, hit Control D, and it will select the next one and the next one. If you keep hitting Control D, so you can easily select things that way. The only other change I want to make is I want to get rid of this text-2XL, so they're not big, all the same size. These will be slightly smaller. Okay, just like that. Save that and come back here, and now you'll see we have things set up like that. Let's change the text now, and we'll set each of our headings to, or each of our nav elements to the headings on the page. So we'll do education. We will do work experience. And then we will do portfolio. Just like that. Okay, we can save that, come back to our page here, and now we have our navbar made. Okay, perfect. Now with our navbar done, let's go ahead and build the rest of the page out. So we want just a full screen page here with a card, kind of a landing page here. We'll scroll down, have another full page for our education, another full page for our work, and another full page for our portfolio. And luckily, this will be pretty easy to do with Tailwind. So we'll do all this in our app.js for now. We could, I guess, create a separate component if we wanted to for this, but for now, we won't do that. I'm going to go and create a div and add a class on this. So do class name equals, and this will be h-screen, which will set the height to 100 viewport heights. So it'll set the height to the height of the screen, pretty much. Inside of this div here, we can go ahead and add another div. And on this one, we'll add a class name as well. And this will be a width of 2/4, so 50% of the screen, an m-auto, margin top -10, and a margin bottom -3. So really this m-auto could just be an mx-auto because we want to center it on the left and right axis, or on the left and right, so on the x-axis. And then we'll add a margin top of 10 and a margin bottom of 3. Again, you can look up the Tailwind classes to see exactly how much these are, but I'm not going to go over that right now in this video. Inside of this div, we want to go ahead and put our header with our job title. So we'll do an h1. Or sorry, with our name and our job title. So an h1 here, and this will be just tester for now. You can put whatever you want. And on this h1, we'll add some classes. So class name equals text-5xl, margin bottom -3. And there's definitely a downside of Tailwind of having to add all these classes, but it makes it easy not to write the CSS. So it is pretty useful to use. Next, I want a p tag here with some classes as well. So we'll add a text-2xl, a text-cyan-900, which will set the text color to the dark cyan color, and then a margin left -2. And then we'll put software engineer as the job title, right, like that. Okay, we'll save that. Let's take a look at it. And now we have a tester with software engineer, and you can see the dark cyan color right there. Okay, perfect. Now with that done, let's add our card and our profile image. So we'll create another div, and this will be inside of this first div on this screen width, on screen height. And we'll add a div right here, and we'll add some classes on this as well. So we'll add a class name equaling, and this div, we want to go ahead and create a flex, display flex to show the image and the biography text side by side. So we'll add a flex class to make it display flex. We'll add space between, make sure we add some space between the two different items in there. And we'll set a width of 50% again, 2/4, a margin of auto to center everything, and then a padding top of 10, and then a border to add a border around our card, do a rounded -SM to round the corners, and SM just creates a really small rounding, and we'll add a padding of 3 as well. Let's actually add a padding X of 3, and then we'll add a shadow as well. Inside of here, we're gonna have two different things. We'll have an image tag, and we'll have a div with a header and a paragraph tag for the biography. For the image, I'm gonna go ahead and grab my free image I found online and put it inside the public folder. So real quickly, I'll grab that. I can get that folder. I'll copy this. Open this folder up here, and I'll paste it inside of here. Okay, so there's the image, just a free stock image I found online. We can go ahead and put that there now and just pull it from the public folder. So to do this, we'll create an image tag. We'll create an alt text, and we'll set just a profile. And then we'll add some classes as well on this. So class name equals BG dash, we don't need that. Let's do rounded dash full. And that will just make it a circle. So full rounded will make it just a circle. Set a width of 64 and a height of 64. We want this to be a square, so it's not an oval when we round it. And then we'll have a margin on the x-axis of 8. Then we add src to get this image source. We can find everything in our public folder by just going to /profile_picture.jpg or whatever your file name is called. In my case, it's just profile picture. And that pulls it from the public folder. And then we can go ahead and just close off this image tag. Okay, now we have our image in there. If we save this, let's see if our image is showing up. There it is. Okay, it is showing up. There's one issue though. It's too far down. So let's see here. Let's go ahead and change this padding top to a padding Y maybe and see what that looks like. Let's cut this down maybe 5. Let's try that for now. We can come back and change that later if we want to, but for now that should work. And now inside of this div, we're gonna create another div to hold our text and our header for the biography. We don't need any classes in that div, so we'll leave that like that. And then we'll add an H5 here for the biography header. So just say biography. And we'll add some classes on the H5. We're gonna make it a little bit bigger, so we do text-2XL. And we're gonna add a text color of text-cyan 900. And then we'll add a border underneath it, so the border -B-2. And then we'll add a border color, border -slate-300, make it a light gray color. We save that, come back here, and there we go. Now below the H5, we'll add our paragraph text. And I'm gonna go and just copy in. Actually, first we'll add a style real quick. So we'll add one style to this. So class name equals padding top -3 to add some spacing away from that header. But I'm gonna go ahead and just grab some text just as some placeholder for now. You can fill this out with your actual biography if you want. But for this tutorial, I'll just put in some placeholder text, and you can just Google, how to generate placeholder text if you want to go find some online. But then we can get this looking just like this. You can also go ahead and just pull this image and this text from the repository in the description if you'd like to there as well. But there's our card. So now we have a really basic card on our home screen. Let's go ahead, or on the landing page of the website. Let's go ahead now and build the rest of the website. So now we'll add another full screen image or full screen width container and add in our education and then our work experience and then our profile stuff. So these will all be very similar. So I'm going to make the first one and then just copy it down and make some changes from there. So let's go ahead and start with that. So you want to make sure we're outside of our our div here with the h-screen. So we're all the way out of all of these divs. We'll add another div right here. And then once again, we'll add the same thing right here. Class name equals h-screen. Okay, inside of here, we'll create another div. A class name equaling margin bottom -5, margin on the x-axis of 5 as well. And this will be my education. Actually, no, we don't want, this should be the container. So we should put a div here and then close the div right here. And then inside of here, we'll put the my education header. So we'll create an h1 inside of here. And then we'll add my education. Okay, now we'll add some classes on the h1. So class name equaling text-5xl to make it kind of big, and a margin bottom -3 as well. Okay, and then we'll add some paragraph text below this header inside of this div. So we'll add a p tag and a class name equaling, and this class name will be text-lg, text-cyan 900, and I'll go ahead and just put here is the education that I have received. This will be a p tag like that. And that should be it for that div. We'll save that real quick. Let's just double check that it all looks okay. And there we go. So now you see it's a full page width here. We have a full page width here as well. Okay, perfect. Now let's go ahead and build our cards. So we can build a card using Tailwind by creating a div. And first we want to set the grid for the cards. So we want to go 3 wide. So we'll set a class of grid to set the display to grid. And we'll set the grid columns by doing grid-calls-3 to set 3 columns wide. We'll add a gap of 4 to add some spacing between the grid items. We'll also add a margin on the x-axis of 5 to give some spacing from the edge of the screen. Okay, now inside of this grid here, we can create our cards. So I'll create another div, a class name equaling. First, we want to put a border on there. We want to go ahead and round the corners again. And then we want to add a padding -3 and a shadow. So that'll be pretty similar to the last card we created for the page up here. It should look fairly similar. Okay, perfect. Now inside of here, let's go ahead and first put a couple headers. So I'll add an h3 to start. And this one for our education will contain the school name. So put school and then comma, then the degree. So computer science in this case for this example, just like that. And on this h3, we'll go ahead and add some classes. So class name equals text-large to make the text a little bit bigger. We'll add a border on the bottom, so border-b-2 to add a bottom border with a width of 2. And we'll add a border color, slate 300 again, and a text-slate-800 to give it a dark gray text color. And then below this h3, we'll create an h5. Some classes here as well. These classes will have just a padding y of 2, and this will contain the years. So we'll just say 2016 to 2020 or whatever. And then we'll go ahead and close off this h5. And we'll save that. And there we go. So now we have our school header here, the text, and then we'll put a description below that. So we can go ahead and add a p tag right below this. We don't need any styles on this. Once again, I'm going to grab just some dummy text to fill this in for now. And then we can go ahead and close off this p tag. Save that. Let's come back and check it out. And there we go. So now we have our school, our degree, the years, and then a short description about what we did at that school. I'm going to go ahead and copy this over 2 more times so we fill out this row. So we can go ahead and just grab this whole card. So make sure you don't grab the grid container, but just everything inside of the grid. So this div right here, we'll copy this, we'll paste it, and we'll paste it again. And now we have 3 cards right across there. Okay, perfect. Now let's go ahead and copy this down again, and we'll create our work experience in our profile. And our work experience for now is going to be exactly the same. We're just going to change our header here a little bit, and this header up here as well. So what we can do is we can grab this whole H screen tag all the way down to here. We'll copy this, paste that down again, and on this one we can change this to be my work experience, and we'll change the text here to here is some of my most recent relevant work experience. And then the header on our cards, instead of saying the school, we'll change this to company. So we'll find over here. So we'll select it, do a Control D 3 times, and change this to company. And then we'll save that. Now we scroll down again, we have work experience and company. Actually, we should change this as well, though. So let's change computer science and these 3 here to be software engineer. Okay, perfect. Now we have our work experience section and our education section done for now. I'm still kind of plain, and we should probably add some more stuff to it, but for now, this works completely fine for the moment. Let's go create one more section of this for our portfolio now. So I'll copy down this H screen all the way down here. And we'll paste it right here. And this is our portfolio section. So we'll change this to be my portfolio. And then we'll say here is, or let's change this whole thing. We'll make this a little different. We'll say, take a look at some of my most recent projects that I have built and the linked code on GitHub. I'm not going to go ahead and actually link any code, but we'll create the links so you can go ahead and fill that in with your code. Okay, so now we have that set up. Let's change these header here. Instead of company software engineer, we'll make this just a title, nothing else. I guess I should probably just do all of them at once. So we'll highlight this whole thing, Control D, and do title. And then instead of having the years here, that doesn't really make much sense. Let's change this to be the link. So this will require us to change some of these styles a little bit. But to start, I'm going to go ahead and just copy all these here and do view code or something, whatever you want to say. And now the styles, we'll keep our padding Y-2, but we'll also add a text dash blue dash 500. So it's obvious that it's a link. We'll add a hover of text dash blue dash 700, make it a little bit darker when you hover over it. We'll add a transition to make it a smooth transition in and out of the 2 different colors. And once again, a cursor dash pointer, so we can make the cursor turn to a pointer when we hover over it. Let's save that and take a look at this now. So now you'll see now we have this link here. It says view code, and it hovers in the color when you hover over it, changes slightly. Let's go ahead and make those changes for our other view code links as well. So I'll copy these styles. I'll just paste them right there and paste them right there. We'll save that. And now we should have it set up on all of these to have that hover effect when we go over it. Of course, it's not a link right now, but you can go ahead and turn it into a link and link your code there if you want. But that is really it for now. We got a basic kind of setup going and something we can kind of work with now. In the next video, we'll probably pull in our actual data from our API and go through that process. We also need to make our nav bar work, but we'll do that in a later video as well. I'll probably eventually come back and polish up some of these styles, make it look a little prettier. If you have any suggestions, let me know and I can try to work that in. But other than that, though, that's probably the rest of this project will be just adding our actual data and cleaning some things up. So that's it for this video. Hopefully this was helpful in figuring out Tailwind and React. All the code will be in the description below, as well as any links. I'll try to put the Tailwind docs in there as well if you need to get to that, and other things like that that might be helpful. Thank you for watching, and I hope to see you in the next video.